Hey guys, we're back with another amazing episode. Today we'll be looking into how the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids. We'll be going over how they moved massive stones, the ramps of Giza, and much more. So let's get started. The pyramids have always been one of the most intriguing structures throughout history. These gigantic structures are considered to be one of the greatest achievements of the ancient world. But there's so much that even modern engineers and scientists don't know about them. Even after all this time, many people still wonder how the Egyptians built these magnificent structures. Egyptologists have come up with various theories about how the ancient builders were able to move the enormous stone blocks and lift them to such great heights. There are several ideas out there that sound far-fetched and almost impossible. But today, we'll be exploring the evidence behind some of the leading theories and find out how pyramids were actually constructed. How did they move massive stones? The pyramids of Giza are the oldest and only remaining structures of the seven wonders of the ancient world, and it's no surprise that these pyramids continue to draw in crowds from all over the world. For thousands of years, people have been wondering how the ancient Egyptians managed to build the pyramids. One of the biggest mysteries is how they managed to move the massive stones and lift them to the top of the structure. After all, the average weight of each stone block was around 2.5 tons, and some of them weighed as much as 70 tons. The stones also had to be cut precisely and then fitted together with incredible accuracy. To this day, the construction methods used by the ancient Egyptians remain unknown, but researchers have some ideas on how they managed to complete the monumental task. One idea is that the Egyptians used a system of levers and rollers to move the stones. This theory is supported by the fact that archaeologists found a collection of copper tools near the base of the pyramids. Some of the tools resembled chisels, while others looked like saws. It's possible that the Egyptians used these tools to carve the stones and then moved them using a system of levers and rollers. Another possibility is that the Egyptians used a combination of human and animal power to move the stones. In fact, this is the most widely accepted theory among researchers. According to this idea, the Egyptians would have used ropes or wooden sledges to move the stones along a ramp. Then they would have used levers and rollers to lift the stones to their final destination. Finally, skilled masons would have used copper chisels to carve the stones into their final shape, from mastabas to marvels. While it's true that the pyramids were one of the most impressive structures in the ancient world, they weren't the first. As a matter of fact, the ancient Egyptians built several different types of tombs for their pharaohs. The earliest tombs were simple pits, or mastabas. However, as time went on, the Egyptians began to construct more elaborate tombs, such as the bent pyramid. These tombs were still relatively small, but they were a step up from the simple mastabas. The Egyptians continued to experiment with different designs, and eventually they came up with the design for the Great Pyramid of Giza. This pyramid was the largest and most impressive structure that the ancient Egyptians had ever built. It stood at a height of over 480 feet, and it took an estimated 20,000 workers over 20 years to build. However, the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza marked the end of pyramid building in Egypt. The next two pyramids that were built, the Red Pyramid and the Black Pyramid, were smaller than the Great Pyramid of Giza. And after that, the Egyptians stopped building pyramids altogether. Instead, they began to focus on building temples and other types of religious structures. The Egyptians had a number of reasons for stopping the construction of pyramids. One reason could be that the labor and resources required to build a pyramid were simply too great. Pyramids required a massive amount of manpower and resources to build, and the Egyptians may have decided that it wasn't worth the cost. Another reason could be that the Egyptians had conquered all the nearby areas that they needed to acquire building materials. Limestone and granite, which were the main materials used to build pyramids, were typically acquired from quarries outside of Egypt. And if the Egyptians had conquered these areas, they may have found it difficult to obtain the materials they needed. Whatever the reason, the Egyptians stopped building pyramids after the 5th dynasty, which ended around 2400 BC, the ingenious ramps of Giza. While the Great Pyramid of Giza is truly a marvel of engineering, it's not without its flaws. One of the most debated aspects of the pyramid is how the ancient Egyptians managed to transport the massive stones to the top of the structure. There are several theories out there, but one of the most popular ones is that the Egyptians used a system of ramps to move the stones. Ramps aren't exactly the most exciting topic when it comes to ancient civilizations, but they were likely an integral part of the construction of the pyramids. Ramps would have been used to move the massive stones up the side of the pyramid and into place. There are several different types of ramps that could have been used, but the most likely candidate is the external ramp. This type of ramp would have been built along the side of the pyramid as it was being constructed. As the pyramid grew taller, the ramp would have to be extended as well. While this type of ramp would have been extremely useful, it would have also been very dangerous. Workers would have had to climb the ramp with the stones, and it would have been easy for them to fall to their death. However, the Egyptians were known for their ingenuity, and they likely took steps to ensure the safety of their workers. They may have used ropes or harnesses to prevent workers from falling, or they may have constructed the ramp in sections so that workers could take breaks. Whatever the case may be, the use of ramps was likely a key part of the construction of the pyramids. Pyramids Unplugged. When it comes to the construction of the pyramids, there are a lot of myths and misconceptions out there. One of the most enduring myths is that the pyramids were built by slaves. This myth likely originated during the days of Napoleon Bonaparte, who famously said, "It was not made by slaves, it was made by free men." However, there's no evidence to support this claim. In fact, most historians believe that the pyramids were built by paid laborers who were treated fairly well. Another myth is that the pyramids were built with the help of aliens. This myth likely originated in the early 20th century when a man named Andrew Collins published a book claiming that aliens helped the ancient Egyptians build the pyramids. Collins claimed that the pyramids were actually tombs for alien gods, and that the Egyptians were taught how to build the pyramids by aliens. However, there's no evidence to support any of these claims. The pyramids were clearly designed as tombs for the pharaohs, and there's no evidence that aliens had anything to do with their construction. Finally, one of the most popular myths is that the pyramids were built as a tomb for the pharaoh Khufu. This myth is likely based on a misinterpretation of the ancient texts. The Egyptians didn't keep detailed records of the construction of the pyramids, so much of what we know about their construction comes from speculation and interpretation. Many Egyptologists believe that the Great Pyramid of Giza was indeed built as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, but this is not certain. In fact, the Egyptians may have built the pyramid as a symbol of their power and wealth rather than as a tomb. Ultimately, the truth is that we don't know for sure how the pyramids were built. All we have are theories and speculation. It's possible that the Egyptians kept detailed records of their construction, but those records have been lost to time. Or perhaps the construction of the pyramids was simply too chaotic and disorganized for anyone to keep track of. Whatever the truth may be, the pyramids remain one of the most impressive structures in the ancient world. And hopefully one day we will uncover the secrets of their construction. What are your thoughts on the various theories regarding the construction of the pyramids? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.